We have Michaela Jade, founder of Indigenal, combining cultural intelligence with digital intelligence for sustainable communities. We have Christina Hobbs, co-founder of Verve Super, Australia's first ethical superannuation fund, tailored for women, led by women. We have Helen Black, founder of Work Restart, creating safer communities by establishing meaningful employment opportunities for currently and previously incarcerated people and positively restarting their lives. And finally, we have Allie Watson, founder of Code Like a Girl, an education startup closing the gender gap in technology through results-driven education, pathways for women and girls. Do we all make it up here? Okay, we've got a little bit of tech. Thanks all for your patience. So we're just waiting for a few others. While we're waiting, though, Brooke, there's Allie. Brooke, I'm going to start with Allie because we're going to do this alphabetical. There's a method to my madness. So I've used your roles and your companies to introduce you. So let's get to know each other by hearing your who am I and why you started your company. So we're going to go alphabetical. First Allie, then Brooke, Christina, Helen, and Michaela. So Allie, over to you.
Sounds good. Who am I? So I am the youngest of 4 sisters. I am the daughter of a single mother, Ethel. And I decided in 2015 to travel 10,000 miles away from my homeland in Scotland to live in the beautiful lands of the Wurundjeri people here in Australia. It's been one of the most bravest things I've ever done with my life, and I think that I encourage everyone to have the courage to follow their own path. I'm an art school reject, for those that don't know. I accidentally fell into the world of technology. I spent 8 years working in the craft and creation and building of software. I really loved that career, but I was pretty isolated as one of the only women in the team, in the classroom, in the office. So Code Like a Girl began as a way for me to meet other women who code. And it's been started as a really small networking event, a real sweet passion project of mine. And over the years, I've grown it to be an education startup that it is today, having a measurable impact on tech's gender imbalance. And I just want to say what a privilege it is to be here, to be in this set of ventures, and to be part of the SheEO network. I look forward to speaking more to people later on.
Awesome. Thank you, Allie. And next comes Brooke.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. Okay, so who am I? My name's Brooke Jones. I'm a Toowoomba girl, and I've always been in the retail industry. So started out in fashion, never thought I'd be in the hair and beauty or manufacturing, but here we are. Those sort of things happen that way. So when we sort of went through this whole process of developing and manufacturing in the retail industry, people started wearing their clothes as uniforms, and it always just ended up with the questioning why. Why are you wearing it? What's happening? Textile waste. And then people wearing the wrong clothing, they were bleaching them and throwing it out. So this was really the ignited my passion for what we can do for finding a solution. And really looking at, I just couldn't believe that there was, textiles were actually being made out of crude oil. Just didn't make sense. So here we are. We're making them out of waste to workwear. And not a hairdresser by trade, not a designer by any means, but we're supply chain solutionists. That's what Botex is, and that's who I am now, and that's what I love. And now we're part of this group, which has really been the most important thing for me to go through this year, especially with everything going on. So very lucky, very, very grateful. Thank you.
Fantastic, Brooke. All right, Christina, over to you.
Hi, I'm Christina, the CEO of Verve Super, and I am from beautiful Ngunnawal country originally, which is Canberra, Australia. And I am the daughter of 2 wonderful immigrant parents, and I'm a sister to 3 beautiful siblings. And my journey to where I am today has taken many turns, but I think one of the really profound experiences I had was around 15 years ago, leaving Australia to go and work for the United Nations abroad, and then spent about 10 years working in cross natural disasters and conflicts in really some of the worst crisis situations that our world has seen over that period. And it was really through that experience that I focused a lot more and had a lot deeper thinking around wealth equality, the impacts of climate change and natural disasters. And it was, of course, on one of the trips back when my mother waved about 5 superannuation forms in front of me and said, hey, you've got to consolidate these accounts, that I went on the journey of realizing what my money was being invested in and started hypothesizing and dreaming about what it would look like to start a superannuation fund that not only invested ethically, but invested in women and supported women to build wealth more holistically. And that brought me to where I am today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Christina. Now over to you, Helen, and Work Restart.
Hi, I'm Helen. If you said to me 4 years ago that I'd be working with incarcerated people, I just would have laughed at you. My experience of working within the sector was zero. But what I actually found when I started inside prisons, there was just this huge human potential that was going to waste. And so many people behind bars actually were just people, if you scratch the surface a little bit, just needed a second chance and a bit of a help to actually move forward. So I'm actually really passionate advocate for looking at how we can help people restart their lives. I've done that a number of times in my life. I've had many different careers, which I really love, to experience new different things. And occasionally I get on a motorbike and I travel around the world as well, which I think is also really lovely. So I suppose I'm not afraid of new experiences and doing things a little bit differently from others. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Helen. And Michaela.
Warami. My name is Michaela. I'm a Cabral woman and founder of the company In Digital. We're Australia's first Indigenous edutech startup. I didn't always plan to work in technology or become a SheEO venture either. I had 21 years as a park ranger, living all around Australia in regional and remote communities. And I saw augmented reality in 2012 and realised that there was a massive digital skills gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. And there was also a huge, I feel the weight of being a 30-something-year-old woman, not knowing my own language, culture and law. And I really saw technology as a way to be able to help us share our knowledge, our Indigenous knowledge of caring for country and other knowledge that we have about Australia for future generations. I didn't want my daughters, Amy and Jasmine, growing up not knowing where they came from or their tribe or their language. So I embarked on this process of trying to use mixed and augmented reality storytelling to engage our young people in our cultures and also share our cultures with non-Indigenous peoples. Julie Trell and Anne-Marie Elias and Annie Parker were the ones that encouraged me to apply to SheEO. But first they encouraged me to be an activator, and I did that in 2018, and it literally was my last $1,500 in the bank account, and I put it in because I realized that if I didn't do it, who was going to do this? And I had to do it for my kids. So I've never looked back of investing in SheEO, and it's been such a profound journey working with these wonderful women throughout this year, in the year of COVID and 2020. But I'm really grateful to be a part of this community.
Awesome. So, Mick, I'm going to go for the first question back to you. So you've been so impactful on SheEO, being an activator, promoting it, and getting and talking about it with your daughter. What's been the greatest impact of being a SheEO venture this year on you and your business, whether it's the funding, the application process? So what's been the biggest impact?
Kind of all of it, Julie. Doing the application actually made me get my shit together. So that was fantastic. And then to be selected as a venture was just life-changing. I've been able, with the small amount of support, not small amounts, a huge amount. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about there. But with the huge amount of support that we've had from SheEO, I was able to grow the business from just myself this year to a team of 6 people that are all Indigenous people working on country around Australia, and kind of living what I always imagined for the company, which was to provide employment opportunities in digital technologies for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, regardless of where we live. So we've been able to achieve that this year, and we've been able to draw tons of support from the entire network. Anytime something has been needed in the company, whether it's a connection or advice or whether we've been able to play a supporting role ourselves, we've always been able to lean into the SheEO community and get the support we need. And this year we managed to just finish delivering our first program to 1,000 kids around Australia in 31 schools. So we announce the winners of our Minecraft Education Challenge tomorrow, if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
really excited.
All right, Brooke, you mentioned, I want to ask a similar question. What's been the greatest impact of SheEO on you and your venture? You mentioned in your video the growth that you found.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just really timing. So what I've learned personally from everyone else has been so much more for me personally as opposed to a business level. It's really just made me slow down, and as I'm listening to everyone else, it's been the teachings of that. So yeah, unexpected. It's been great. So that's really sort of where I'm going with that.
Awesome. And Helen, what's been the impact of SheEO on you and you on SheEO?
It's actually really quite amazing. In a year that's been full of disruption, the SheEO community really leaned in to all of their 2020 ventures. And to me, that's just been absolutely profound. It's been everything. It's meant that we weathered the cash flow ups and downs of this year because of the loan we were able to get. That was significant for us. It's meant that we've been able to brainstorm ideas and speak with really experienced and inspiring people to actually look at some of that way forward. And so that's actually meant the difference between being a bit lost at the beginning of the year, wondering how the hell were we going to get through this year, through to honing in on what we're really good at, being able to expand it. And we've actually ended this year not only on a better financial footing than we were, but actually with far more opportunities in the bag. So that's the power of this network.
Fantastic. Christine, I'm going to go to you next. I know when we announced we were going to postpone the summit, and it sounded like we were also going to postpone the investment. I want to champion and applaud you for being one of the vocal 5 of you to say, we need this funding now. So we shifted everything online, and you got to do your retreat, and you got to meet one another. So can you talk a little bit about what you've learned from one another, how you've leaned on one another, and how that's helped you as well as a cohort of SheEO, the second cohort of SheEO in Australia?
Yeah, I think the timing was really wonderful because that first meeting that we had after we'd been announced, where we got together and sort of did 2 days, not just to divide the money, but also to meet each other, it's really wonderful timing because it was the beginning of COVID. And I think all of us in the room were feeling extremely nervous about what was about to happen to our businesses and the sudden changes that had been thrust upon us. So I think just sort of having that break point where we had a couple of days to focus on something that was positive and to come together as a community was really valuable. And I think having that support from a much broader network through what has been for everyone a really challenging time in business has been really, really incredible. And I think, particularly for us as well, because as a business we're doing a lot of thinking about how do we reach women across Australia with our financial coaching, and how do we, really invest well to support women. It's been wonderful to see the journey of SheEO that's really quickly pivoted to being online as, I think a really great example of how to do that.
Great. And Allie, I'm going to ask you a similar question, how you've learned on one another, talking a little bit about, so that retreat is a really, really special event. And I remember last year letting one of the ventures know that she was excited. And she says, I don't really care about the summit or even the money. I'm so excited about this retreat and dividing up the money. So do you want to talk a little bit about the retreat, how it impacted you, working with MJ, and what that's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. The retreat, thinking back on it, I was in such a different headspace. I remember, and I think all entrepreneurs, all business owners, all founders will identify with this, but when you're growing, you end the year and you say to yourself, oh, like that was the hardest year ever, like 2018, so hard. You get the end of 2019, oh my God, it was so hard. And then 2020 happened and it just like set the bar. And so with literally COVID had just hit in March. Our whole services across the business was shut down. I was in such a fragile spot, like mentally, financially, everything was sort of looking fairly bleak at one point. And I had this mindset going into the retreat and going into this year. You know, someone once said that not all founders make great CEOs, and I was definitely there. That's where I was before we went into this program. And meeting Angie and having the coaching from the SheEO program has definitely been like priceless in terms of the money. Yeah, it helped with the cash flow and helped us pivot the business. But I kind of learned a lot about, you know, this whole marathon that we call it, and SheEO really taught me, and meeting the girls and hearing their stories and having that support network. Yeah, it's a marathon. You need stamina. It's a long way to go, but people don't tell you that you've got a team, that it's not just a marathon on your own, that you've got a relay team. And SheEO's helped me develop the skills to just delegate better, to lean on people better. Like, I came in being very out of practice on how to ask for help or how to identify when I needed help. And I'd probably say that's been the biggest takeaway from just this whole experience and the development and the coaching. And sometimes I'll get on the fortnightly call with Angie and I'll think I don't need help. I'll get on and we'll chat about our challenges. It's basically like business therapy. And by the end of the call, like, I know what to ask for and I know like where to go, and no longer do I feel like, you know, alone, and no longer do I feel that burden of it all on me. And yeah, I've never had that kind of coaching before. So for me, it's been life-changing.
Great. Well, you'll get to practice asking in about 10 minutes here. Yeah. I'm going to go over to Brooke now. What impact have you created in the world so far, and where are you headed?
I think the impact for us is looking at our supply. So we're really improving on the current practices, environmentally, socially, and ethically. Where we're going, well, policies don't create change, actions implement change. So we're really trying to focus on one industry, one business, one product at a time. So yeah, exciting times ahead, and very excited about some more collaborations that I've been introduced to through the group as well with SheEO. So there's some exciting things coming up all over.
Sorry about that. Christina, over to you. Same thing. What impact have you created in the world, and where are you headed? I know you might have some news to share. I don't know if it's public.
Yeah, so our impact really focuses around advocating for fair retirement outcomes for women. It focuses on the free financial coaching that we provide to our members and to our community partners. And the third part that I'm really excited about is also the investments that we make through the money that we have for our members, our superannuation fund, into impact. So as an example of some exciting things that we're investing in is women's microfinance in our region. So we're actually using our members' superannuation money to invest in small women's-led businesses in the Asia Pacific. So there's just an amazing example of a win-win whereby, you know, we can use our, you know, we can drive returns for our members. We can also support women in the region as well. So some really exciting things for us. I think, yeah, one of our wins that hasn't been publicly announced yet, but we have just about completed our capital raise. So we started SheEO low on funds and facing COVID and a little bit stressed out by it. And over the period, we've managed to raise capital from some really amazing women, including some of the women in this network. So I'm sure we'll have more to announce on that soon as well.
Fantastic. Ali, and you, what impact have you created in the world so far, and where are you headed?
Oh, good question. So I talk about my business now in pre-COVID and post-COVID context. Pre-COVID, we were really known for our 3-day coding camps for kids. We've taught over 500 kids over the past 3 years through those more intensive courses. We've taught thousands of girls through like very short form 1 hour, 2 hour workshops. And there might be a few people that have ever came to a Code Like a Girl event. So we do a lot of stuff for women and professional women. We've placed around 60 women into internships. So for those that don't know, Code Like a Girl runs a nationally recognized internship program where we place women into like entry level software engineer jobs all around Australia. So that's probably probably one of my proudest stats of knowing that we've directly put women into the workforce, which really inspired this year's pivot. So the funding from SheEO allowed Code Like a Girl to pretty much create its dream online education experience. We built a proprietary learning platform, and we've been running short courses for women that is getting people from absolutely no knowledge of coding or computing. We know that there's a big, massive gap, especially with millennials and women pretty much from ages 18 and upwards just now. They haven't had the same education that the kids today are getting in school. So big opportunity to really transform those lives with skills of the future. So that's what we're doing. We've had 60 women so far enroll in our courses, and we just launched them just a couple of months ago. So far, so good. It's really exciting to finally have a scalable solution. And I have lots of thanks for the SheEO funding that really helped launch that.
Fantastic. Helen, over to you. What impact have you created, and where are you headed? I know COVID's been tough on you and getting inside.
Yeah, I think I'm probably the only person who was disappointed we were locked out of prison this year. So, but essentially we're working on Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. We specifically provide training and real-world work experience to people with an experience of incarceration, particularly inside prison, so that they can access employment, because we know that's a lead indicator of whether somebody will reoffend or not. So I suppose what we're doing is we are reducing reoffending by about half, and we're saving money with the system, the incarceration system, by doing that. But more importantly, we've got a scalable model, so something that can actually go in every prison. So we're working with tens of thousands of people a year, and it's something that works within the system to actually redefine what industries and employment means to help restart lives. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing.
Fantastic. Mick, what impact are you making? And talk about this amazing Minecraft. I'm ready to learn the Minecraft. Myself, a 10-year-old. What impact are you making, and what are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so far, so we built a platform as well together with Microsoft and Telstra Purple, which we launched in June, which allows augmented reality production to go from around $150,000 down to less than $5,000, and it happens instantaneously rather than across 3 or 4 months. So we're really proud to release that. We developed a curriculum around that platform, and we released it into schools and totally repivoted as an edutech company, which is really exciting. And midway through this year, we were approached by Minecraft Education Edition in Seattle to run the first Indigenous Minecraft Challenge, combining both our platform and Minecraft's Education Edition platform to create a special Indigenous program, which we ran this NAIDOC week, which was just last week. So we're coming off the back of running this incredible challenge. And we also worked with our first school to roll out our Digital Schools program in Perth. We did that online, which was absolutely crazy because no one could travel anywhere. And the ABC just did a fantastic coverage of the success of those students and elders working together to produce Indigenous augmented reality storytelling for the City of Swan region. So we're really proud of that program, and as a result of working with Governor Sterling, we've now working with the Graham Polly Farmer Foundation across all of their schools in Western Australia and one of their school clusters in New South Wales. And we have lots of inquiries every day about our program. So we're really, really excited about what 21 will have in store for us.
Amazing. So you're getting a ton of emojis coming through here, all 5 of you. It's beautiful. Now, before we break into small groups, we're going to go alphabetical again, and I want each of you to come with a Twitter-sized comment on what is your advice for founders considered applying for SheEO. This needs to be Twitter-sized, so 280 characters. We're not going to count. And we're going to start with Allie. Advice for future founders or people on the call or friends who might have founders for applying for SheEO.
So this is a little bit difficult to do if you want to apply for this year, but I would say become an activator was a really good experience because you kind of get to sit on the other side of the table before you apply. I've already gone over my 280 characters. All right, Brooke.
I would actually say reach out, connect, and communicate. So I went in got to stop. There you go.
Awesome. Christina.
Reach out to a venture.
Great. Fantastic. Helen.
This is real women doing real things. Just bloody apply.
Fantastic. And Mick.
Yeah, kill the imposter syndrome and apply.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. Awesome. So thank you all so much. We're going to see you shortly. I'm going to give the